The Wii U, released in 2012, considered a commercial failure by most. It's closing its eShop March 27th of 2023. A definitive example of the downside of the digital media world. You still have time, but the clock is ticking. How can I still get games on my Wii U? What games should I get? Stay tuned. Unless you've been living under a rock somewhere, you have probably heard the scuttle about the Wii U eShop closing. 3DS eShop closing. And today we wanted to do kind of a final episode. We did a whole series on this whole Wii U eShop closing scenario where we did a deep dive into every virtual console, what type of games we think you should get. So we'll talk a little bit about that in this episode, but we're really going to show you how you can still get games from the eShop on your Wii U, but there's some hoops you got to jump through.
Yes, so the eShop closes for the Wii U and the 3DS March 27th of 2023, so that's in about 20 days if you're seeing this the day this video comes out. Yeah. You don't have much time. They've already shut down some of the eShop, like they shut down adding credit card funds, and then they shut down being able to use eShop cards. So they've been slowly getting to this point, and now it's going to be closed forever. I think after the 27th, once you buy games, you'll still be able to download them.
Yep, and the DLC and all that. So the shop will still function for an undisclosed amount of time in that way.
I don't know how long it could be a month, it could be a year.
They haven't said.
I don't know. But it's just a scary thing because there's a lot of amazing things on the Wii U eShop. The eShop on the Wii U is incredible. It offers so much. It's better than the Switch eShop, hands down. I mean, the Switch does offer the apps and everything, so that's kind of cool. We'll talk about that. But you don't have much time. So if you are getting a Wii U, this is the way to add funds and get games. You gotta have a Switch.
Yeah, and this video, I guess, is more pointed and geared at folks that maybe aren't a part of the modding scene or the modding community. A lot of this stuff we're talking about, I think the modding scene will have taken care of, right?
Yes.
So if you know how to hack a console and those type of things, you'll probably still be able to load the games on there. That's what the modding scene did with the Wii, right? There was all those Wii exclusive. I think about those Konami Rebirth games, things like that.
Yeah, those are awesome.
That would have been gone forever when the shop closed if it wasn't for the modding community. So you may be sitting there thinking, well, I'll just mod my console. Good for you. This is really the person that has a Wii U sitting around and they don't really do that stuff. There's a lot of casual gamers that aren't into the modding scene that I think this could benefit. So let's jump into how you can still add funds to your Wii U, because you can't do it on your Wii U. You cannot use an eShop card, which you already mentioned. You can't use your credit card. You have to have a Nintendo Switch, and you have to link your Nintendo ID. The Switch doesn't run on that platform of the Nintendo ID. That was a identification method for the DS or 3DS and the Wii U.
And I think it was also used in the Wii as well.
Yes.
I think it was all like this shop, and then they created a Nintendo account for the Switch.
Yes.
So it's very confusing. So you have to, if you don't have a Wii U or you just got a Wii U, you have to create a brand new Nintendo ID in order just to link it.
Yep.
So that's kind of a process on its own. So you got to create that, and then once you go there, then you have to load up your Switch and then connect them.
Yeah. Yep. And it's you got to make sure your Wii U's connected to Wi-Fi to create the ID. Blah 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 blah. But there are some hoops to jump through, but it's pretty easy. You just go up to your profile on the Switch. You go down to like friend suggestions, I believe, and you can scroll over and you'll see an icon for the Wii U, and that's how you can search for your Wii U, if you will. And then we said eShop cards don't work on the Wii U. They don't directly, but indirectly, you can put eShop cards onto or Nintendo gift cards onto your Switch, and that's a shared pool of money that can be used currently on a 3DS as well. So everything we're saying would apply to a 3DS and the Wii U. Or you can add funds on your Switch via credit card, which then, since they're linked, you can use them on your Wii U. But you kind of have to have a Switch. I mean, that's part of the process.
If you don't have a Switch, I think you're screwed. Like, if you just have a Wii U, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Basically, the Wii U eShop is closed.
Yes.
But if you do have a Switch, you do have 20 days to connect your accounts, which we didn't do, which we now have a connected account. I don't know why we didn't have ours connected, but it's connected now. Now you can access and buy the games that potentially could be gone forever, or you can save a ton of money by getting digital download versions of games that are very expensive.
Yes. So So that being said, with the B-roll we showed, hopefully that makes sense. All you got to do, again, go to your profile, your friend suggestions, click on the Wii U icon, put in your Nintendo ID that you created on your Wii U, and then add away as far as funds go on your Switch, and then when you open your Wii U eShop, the funds will be there. There's a whole bunch of videos we did, again, that we did a deep dive onto every single virtual console and like Wii U eShop exclusives that we think are worth looking at. So this is going to be like a quick, high-level view. Why is this important? What do I need? That's a read your own mail scenario.
Yes.
I don't know what you need. You don't know what we need, right? But there are some games that I want you to be thinking about that I think would be very beneficial. The first eShop console I would dive into is the DS.
Whoa, yeah, this is hands down the best thing because the Wii U offers a 2-screen actual thing. Obviously, there's ways to do 2 screens, but it's compressed and it just looks small.
Yeah.
There's a setting where you can literally have the top screen on the TV and the bottom screen on your Wii U tablet, and it's the best way to play DS games.
It is.
It's awesome.
Now, that doesn't offer 3DS games, but be thinking about that. There are some bangers that aren't only from a monetary value pretty expensive, but just great games that I would rather... Personally, I love my DS. I love my 3DS. I always have, but I still would prefer playing those games on a TV. If I had the choice, I'm playing it on the TV.
It's so freaking nice. And yeah, there's a ton of DS games that you can just scroll through and get, and I think they're pretty cheap, So.
And to your point, you can emulate the DS, but when you're doing it on a computer screen, and you're looking at the top and bottom,
it's not the same. It's
not
freaking
ideal.
Amazing on the Wii.
I think there's great value there. So if there's DS games you missed or you didn't get around to, that's a great way to play them. I would be searching, there's not a tile for it, I would be searching for the TurboGrafx 16.
Yes, this is an amazing value too, because this is the only way to really get TurboGrafx 16 games because the Switch doesn't offer any.
Yeah.
And TurboGrafx 16 games are very expensive.
They are.
So if you want to dip your toes into that whole console, this is a great way to do it for cheap.
Yeah, and they did release the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. Not really relevant to this video, but that's already getting stupid expensive.
Yes.
And of course, you can emulate TurboGrafx 16 games, but there just could be some games here that you may really find enjoyable. There are NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance games, all of those, and N64.
Yeah, N64 games.
All those have a respective counterpart on the Switch with the Switch Online function. However, there are games available on the Wii U eShop that are not in those apps as of right now.
Yeah, they could add them, but I doubt they're going to add everything because in those respective apps like NES, Super Nintendo, there is a lot of games. I doubt they're going to add all of them, and there is a lot of games that are worth a ton of money that you could get for $4.99 or $3.99. So read your own mail if you want to do that. I know it's digital versus physical and all this stuff, but it's a great value if it's not offered on the Switch,
I hate to keep saying the same things, but yes, you can emulate a lot of that stuff.
We
always get somebody in the comments.
We're gonna get comments.
That's to each their own, right? We have a NES Classic that has everything we would ever want, but I'm just saying, if you want to play those on your Wii U, they are available. There is also a Wii eShop, which is original Wii games, which are the physical discs are backwards compatible with the Wii U, as you probably know. Maybe you didn't. But there are some banging Wii games in here that are really good that are not available currently, anyways, to play on your Switch. So you can play them that way or get them downloaded as opposed to buying an expensive physical version.
Then there's also Wii U exclusive games and Wii U eShop exclusive games that these potentially will be gone forever. There is a bunch of...
Like 60-ish?
I think there's 60-ish that are North American exclusive, but then there's a lot of eShop games that I don't know much about. We know about a couple. The one that I would recommend the most is Affordable Space Adventure.
Yeah, what a gem.
We've talked about that game ad nauseum on the channel if you've been following us.
Yeah.
But that is one of the best 3-player co-op experiences I've ever experienced, and it's going to be gone forever in 20 days, you know? So get it while you can. I think it's really cheap.
Yeah,
so.
that's one for sure. I think the modding community will probably have the file of that at some place. But again, for the casual gamer, I do not think that they're ever going to get a chance to play Affordable Space Adventure, and it's a true gem. And then the last thing that I would just be considering, there are a few Wii U games that have just skyrocketed in freaking price. Devil's Third. To me, I think the game's $39.99 or something like that on the eShop.
Or $29.99, yeah, something like that.
Somewhere in there. But point being, if you're a hardcore Wii U collector and you're like, man, I kind of want it, but I don't know, it may be worth just kicking the tires and spending the $29.99, $39.99 to play the game to decide if you want to drop $400 on it.
Which is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
We played it, we did a whole review on it, we beat it. It's a fun game, there are some bugs in it, but for getting it for that price versus 400,
Yeah.
500, that's insane.
I bought the digital version just because I didn't want to. Every time I get the Devil's Third game out, I'm like, if I drop this disc,
Yes.
it's $400.
Fortune.
And I'm notorious for putting the game case on the ground and stepping on it and crushing the case or
freaking
whatever.
sucks.
Yeah. And then like the Wario.
Yes, the Wario games.
Game and Wario.
Yeah, Game and Wario.
I think that's north of $100 now.
North of $100, and I think it's around 29, 39, which is awesome. It's a great party game.
Yeah.
So it's literally half the price. I know the argument could be physical versus digital and all this stuff.
Absolutely.
You can still access the physicals, obviously, but if you want to save money and play the games, this is the way to go.
Yeah. In the description below, we will have a laundry list of Wii U content that is all pertinent to the topics covered in this video.
We deep dived into every...
Yeah.
Like, we talked about 10 NES games, 10 Super Nintendo games, 10 Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're thinking, I want to hear more about the TurboGrafx 16 games, it's down below.
we talked about the whole thing in one video,
Yeah, we've been beating this drum for a long time. I remember the very first time I think we put phase 1 of the Wii U eShop closing in the comment section was people coming out with fangs, and they were saying, you guys are wrong. It ain't going to close for a long time.
And now, here we are.
I think it was like less than 6 months after that video they made that announcement.
Yeah.
Can we tell the future? No, we can't. We just got lucky.
Yeah,
But we really did see the writing on the wall. Awesome, underrated console. I think we've talked about a lot that I think the collectability of the Wii U is going to go through the roof at some point. We're already seeing it in certain games. We could be wrong. Again, we don't know everything, with just my prediction. But I think you need, if you're wanting, if you've been pushing this aside, like, yeah, I really want to load up my Wii U, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
You don't have much time.
Yeah.
You got to do it freaking now.
Yeah.
The Wii U just celebrated, I think it was last year, its 10-year anniversary.
Yep.
So it's getting up there in age. The eShop, it's the end of an era. Like, it's once it's closed, it's going to be entombed forever. I remember when the Wii eShop closed, and it was like, oh man, end of an era.
The Wii eShop stayed open a lot longer.
It did, because that closed when we started the channel, I think. So, but obviously the Wii was a lot more popular than the Wii U.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it was a landslide there. So, speaking of end of an era, we're going to do a beer review here at the end of this episode.
We haven't done one in a while.
Yes, we haven't done one in a while together. But Hannah, it's a local beer from Exile Brewing, and there's word on the street, I don't have confirmation on this, that they are not going to be continuing to brew.
Yeah, they're going to discontinue this beer,
and this is a flagship beer. So I, again, haven't got it confirmed, but I got a pretty good source on it.
Yeah, so it's kind of an end of an era meets an end of an era. This is a Bavarian style wheat ale. It reminds me a lot of a Hefeweizen. Yep. This beer is so good. I think we reviewed it before on the channel. It is just so good. And what's cool about this, especially in our neck of the woods, is you can find 6-packs of this at like gas stations and like everywhere. So it's just awesome that it's always available.
Yeah, well, for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those go-to. My favorite beer style is Hefeweizen, but Hefeweizens are pretty tough to find. You know, you've got a couple of those German imports that are always solid, but when you go trying to get them from craft breweries, it's always a dice roll. I would say 1 out of 10 are pretty good. That's 1 out of 10, so 10%. There's another maybe 20 or 30% that are like, they're okay, and then the rest are not very good. It's a hard beer to brew. It's a hard beer to brew, I believe, but this is consistent, and it's always delivered. It's always been great. Always been, I feel like, a 9 out of 10 in the style that it's in, which for a local brew is pretty awesome.
Which is really good. Yeah, you get a really good banana taste. You get a really good clove taste.
Yeah.
I do think they changed the recipe though. Like the original batch was a lot more.
It was less filtered.
Yeah, this is definitely filtered, but it still has the flavor and it's still good.
Yeah.
The original batch of this was more traditional. There was chunks floating around, and that batch was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hannah is just a freaking staple of Des Moines, and it's a freaking staple of Exile. And if you love like Bavarian style wheats and stuff like this beer it's a home run. Like it's so good.
Absolutely. And much like the Wii U eShop, we're sad to see her go.
Yes.
Act accordingly, folks. This will be the last time we ring the bell on this topic. The Wii U eShop is closing forever, and so is the 3DS eShop. Read your own mail. Maybe you don't care. And if you don't, thanks for watching this long if you didn't care. We really appreciate it. But if you do care, we just want to give one final update that the clock is ticking and show you how to add funds on your Wii U, because it's a little bit of a cumbersome process, so that you can get the games you want before it closes forever. We appreciate you tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Cheers.
Cheers
To the Wii U.